Hey everyone, I'm Brandon and this is the Blind Fish Keeper. This is not a happy video for me this week. I lost a bunch of fish due to a fault of my own, and I'm not happy about it, but I feel like it's a good thing to talk about, especially for hobbyists that are new and may not know just how sensitive things can be. So let me tell you what happened. This is my 150 gallon African cichlid tank, and as you can see, any of you that may have been following me for a while, the tank is down in numbers. Well, about 4 days ago, I got up early and was doing some laundry, folding some clothes, and while I was folding some clothes, I noticed that there was one of the outputs on the tank was making some noise that didn't sound right. This aquarium is in my bedroom, so I turned around real quick and was gonna take a look at the output, and I didn't know when I did it that there was something on my hands, and I put some toxins into the tank and lost a bunch of fish. So it's really important that we keep our tanks clean and balanced and do our water changes, but it's just as important before we go to mess with our aquariums that we make sure that we wash our hands, and that, you know, any soap or lotions or oils of any kind, anything that's on your hands that can be transferred into the tank is washed off, because it will throw things off and kill fish. Now, I had been handling laundry detergent pods and dryer sheets, and just turned around not even thinking about it and started adjusting an outflow. And this was early in the morning, and by the evening, when someone came around that could see into the tank, because I am blind, I had lost 4 fish, and they had sat in the tank all day, and the ammonia level went out of control. By that time, the fish were all struggling to breathe due to the ammonia burn, and the ammonia levels were dangerously high. I think it was over 1.5 parts per million ammonia. The nitrites were also up. Basically, the tank crashed because it couldn't handle whatever toxin was that had gotten into the tank. The fish had died, and they started decaying and producing ammonia. So I did a major water change that night. I added a bunch of Fritzyme 7, probably half a bottle, and I had gotten the ammonia levels back to 0. I had done 3 50% water changes that back to back to back, and gotten the ammonia levels back to 0, put in all of the Fritzyme 7, and went to bed. The next morning I woke up and there was a fish dead. Another fish had died. I did another water change that afternoon. When someone came home from work, they could look at the tank. there was another fish dead. So by that time I was out of my bacteria, and the ammonia levels and nitrite levels were still just spiking. So I went to the local fish store, Sea Life Aquariums, here in Orlando, Florida, and I bought another bottle of the Fritzyme 7. I got a 10-pound bag of aquarium salt, and I also got a product for chemical filtration that I just cannot remember the name of. But it works like your activated carbon, your Purigens, your ChemiPures. It absorbs impurities from the water chemically. I immediately came home and did about a 20% water change. I dosed the tank with 1 tablespoon per 2 gallons of water, which ended up being about 4.5 cups of salt. And I added the chemical filtration to the AquaClear 110 so that I didn't have to break open my canisters. And I cranked the heat up. Normally it sits at about 77, 78. I cranked the heat up to about 81. And I went to bed. The next day I woke up and no one had died. A lot of the fish were breathing easier, but I feel like there was still quite a bit of damage done. Ammonia levels had come down, and I kind of just let it ride that day. I didn't do another water change, but I let it. I kept an eye on everything. And then that night, everybody was moving around a lot better. And I tried to feed a little bit, just a little bit. And all this time I hadn't fed anybody. A couple of fish came and ate a little bit, but not all of them. And that night, according to the water changes, or to the water test, the ammonia had gone to 0. So I woke up the next day and I had another fish dead. So by this point I've lost 7 fish. And I did another water change and added about another cup's worth of salt to the tank. I had done 2 20% water changes since the original dosing of salt, so I added about another cup's worth. And what the salt does is it aggravates slime coats, and it also aids in the healing of their gills when they've got the ammonia burn. Luckily, I have not shown any more ammonia since. I have been dosing the Fritzyme 7 pretty heavy to get my cycle back into swing. I still have a little bit of nitrite. Nitrates are down at around 10 parts per million. Nitrites are at about 1 part per million, and I'm hoping those disappear soon. But all it took was one little mistake, and I almost wiped out my colony of fish. We really have to think ahead of the maintenance to keeping our hands clean before we go into the tank. We need to make sure that our equipment that we're using to maintenance the aquariums is clean, that we're not bringing anything over from another tank that might be trouble for the fish in a different aquarium. These fish live in a little glass box, and their ecosystem can be fragile. Now, most of the fish that we keep these days are fairly sturdy fish, but you know, ammonia spikes, nitrite spikes, they're deadly, and one careless mistake on my part messed everything up. I feel terrible about it. It's devastating. And as hard as it is to make a video like this, we have to realize that these fish are solely dependent on us not being negligible in our care. So if anybody learns anything from this, then I'm extremely happy to put this video out. It goes a lot further than just doing your basic aquarium maintenance. We have to be careful what we add to our aquariums, just as much as with the regular water changes and tank maintenance. So, not a very fun video today, not a happy video, but I think a very important video. Thanks again, everybody, for watching and supporting me. Please do me a favor and hit the subscription bell and notification bell. Leave me a comment down below. Tell me what kind of mistakes you've made and what you've learned from them. I think anybody reading can take use of the knowledge that we can pass on. But for now, I guess that's going to do it for me, and I will catch you in the next one.